think I might have met...
In today's episode, we'll be covering about a day and a half of road trip through the heart of the Australian outback. We'll be going everywhere from the Red Centre to, well, just adjacent to the Red Centre. To be fair, the scope of the trip isn't that huge. To ultimately wind up back home in Townsville in Queensland.
Oh yeah, I'm on the wrong side of the car.
Australia.
Dave's got a little nick there.
4 times in a day. Clean sticks out. Well, we're almost to the beginning of our adventure. Are you ready?
So we're here. We finally made it to the beginning of what I would consider to be the Red Centre. There's still a bit more growing out here, but we've got this characteristic reddish orange sand and all the spin effects I've been looking forward to. So I'm excited to see what's out here. Really starting to feel like the outback. The Red Centre, but may not be as red as you expect. This is just the beginning. It'll get thicker. When you're walking around out here, there's one thing that's constantly getting on your mind, and that's all the stabby feelings in your leg, which is from spin effects. And it won't let you forget that it's here. But you're best not to forget that it's here anyway, because this little unassuming plant is the ecosystem out here is based off of. The termites eat it, other things eat the termites. It goes up from there. Sometimes it's the little things that matter.
Here you can see some tracks in the sand that I found. They didn't actually lead to anything. However, it's still pretty important to be able to keep your eyes peeled and look for all the little things like this. It certainly helps to add a little bit of intrigue to the world around you, even if most of them don't really lead to a whole lot of anything exciting. Our next find is, shall we say, a little bit less lively.
Don't know that I have anything too important to say about this tree, as I don't really know much about them. But since I've been here, I've seen plenty of white trees, but the ones I've seen as we're passing through here are a bit whiter than I've ever seen before, and this really isn't the best example to do it justice. Some of these things are just as white as can be, just really pop from their surroundings as you drive by. So, thought I'd stop and talk about it for a second, because it may be one of the more interesting things we find. We're in a bit of a hurry because we got a schedule to make it to New Zealand.
Moments like this were really at the heart of the Outback road trip experience. This is what I saw for most days, just barreling down a desolate road with nothing around you forever, covered in washboards, rattling the teeth out of your skull. But you always have a smile, because around you, it's all just pure Australia.
So, there are termite mounds, and there are termite mounds. This thing is crazy huge. At least 2 times the size, probably 4 times the size or more of the next biggest one I've ever seen. And it's out here, like in the middle of nowhere, where we've seen hardly any other termite mounds at all. And then this behemoth is just here. Evidently, they've just all been shoved inside this one. That's why we haven't been seeing them, I suppose. This thing's pretty incredible, though. I wish I knew more about termites to say something. It appears to be abandoned, but where's an entomologist when you need one? I'm sure there's way more interesting things to learn about this than what I can say or know.
When it comes to what little knowledge I do have of termites, I can say one interesting thing is why they build these big mounds. A lot of it has to do with thermoregulation. They have passageways, entrances and exits at different levels on the structure to facilitate airflow through the object, and are able to achieve an evaporative cooling type effect via this. So a form of air conditioning, essentially. And it also helps to provide them with a safe place to try to avoid predators. They will even build these tunnel type systems, little networks of finger trails that go out to what they're feeding on, certain types will anyway, and it shelters them from the light and predators while they are out foraging. And they will extend these little pathways at night. Another neat thing is that some monitor species will incubate their eggs inside termite mounds because of their excellent thermoregulatory properties. It's truly some fascinating stuff, and there are a wide variety of different architectural styles employed by different termites, and I don't know entirely what makes each species do what it does with its structure, or if it's environmental influences or more species to species. But there's definitely a lot of room to dig in deeper on these guys and learn more, and I'm excited to get into it one day. There may be nothing around, but there's always something ahead. Is that aluminum? Why, yep, I'd say it looks like it. I can see dollar signs already.
Number on that one. Oh, that'll do her. Can't seem to start this thing. Oh yeah, I'm on the wrong side of the car. That's probably the problem. I'm supposed to sit over there. So easy to forget. But on a real note though, it's amazing how many junk cars like this you find out here in the outback. People just either abandon them for one reason or another, and a bunch of them just wind up burnt to a crisp. Like this one, it went down in probably the hottest fire I've seen yet. I guess they just get stolen, driven out, and burnt. I don't know exactly for what. You can see this one's got missing aluminum wheels, so somebody probably took those for a profit. This thing's a Commodore. Kind of a waste of a halfway decent car. Or more so than that, I guess I could say. I mean, it's a rear-wheel drive car with an optional V8 package. See, it's got a hitch on it. Get a lot of that here in Australia. Just cars with trailer hitches. And around up here, you can see there's only one wheel left. Don't know what the deal is with this, if it couldn't be gotten off or what, but the rest have all been taken, I guess, for scrap metal. And this one hasn't. Too big of a hurry or something, I don't know what. There's definitely some scrap metal down here somebody didn't turn in. Pile of aluminum. I reckon this used to be a radiator, but normally they're far less effective this way. What a shame. I think I might have made a mess of my face. This is a dirty car. Hi.
At this point, we were nearing the edge of the Northern Territory, eastward bound, heading toward Queensland. And we had put the red center at least a few hours behind us. And all that haze you see in the sky, that's from all the rampant wildfires, most of which were way down south towards Sydney. But even as far away as we weren't removed from their effects. We had actually run across a bushfire ourselves about 2 days prior. It wasn't connected to the main bushfires in any way, but it was still a neat experience to see it up close and kind of eerie just to come up on that in the middle of nowhere with nothing else around. Oh, and it made for some pretty convenient footage for this bit. Anyway, the day was drawing to a close, and it was time to put the Northern Territory behind us and find a good place to hang our heads for the evening. And little did I know, the hotel was gonna have quite the surprise. So check out what you get in hotel rooms in Australia. No, really, we got him outside. Carried him in to grab the camera. This guy's a big boy. It's pretty cool to see lizards like this out in the wild. And this guy isn't even near as big as they get. But he's easily almost 3 feet long as is. And his tail really should go another 6 inches or so if it wasn't broken off at the end. It's kind of stubby. He's had some bad days. Got a little nick there. But he's doing okay. Seems pretty used to people. He was kind of easy to get up on. And then he started trying to run, and as he did, it was easier to get up on him than I expected. I think they mostly want to run away, but if they do get a hold of you, these guys will give you some stitches. You're just a medium one, aren't you? A lot bigger. Yeah, they'll grow up to about 1.8 meters. So like about 6 feet. So easily 4 times or more of this weight. I chased a giant one across James Cook one day. You can see that forked tongue he sticks out as he's smelling the air, trying to see what's going on. Oh, buddy, put your tongue out. Come on. There we go. He's trying to figure out where my hand is, and he's there. You see him? He'll wiggle his tail too. He was doing that while I was going after him. He was sitting still, looking at me and wiggling his tail all over the place, trying to distract me and get my attention back here. So if you're a predator, you grab the tail. And monitors don't really drop their tail the way other lizards do, hence why I can hold on to him this way. But it still gives him more of a chance to get away. And say you're a big predator biting hard, it would bite off the end of his tail, even though he won't drop it like a regular lizard. It could still, obviously prefer have that bitten off than anything else. That's pretty big claws too. You gonna bite me? No, you're not. Are you? You're a nice lizard. You're long like talons. Come on, you're okay. He's not having it. Come on. There, close up. And they're a very muscular lizard, much higher energy level than most of the smaller lizards are. Out hunting all kinds of prey. This guy was around an old chicken coop or something, probably after chickens or eggs or whatever. I don't know if there's still chickens living in it. It looked pretty barren. Anyway, these yellow spotted monitors are super cool. They're pretty common across the areas of Queensland I've been in, and it's amazing seeing a lizard of this size and proportion in the wild. I'm just coming across them. Their bite strength is pretty impressive. This guy would do way more damage than a croc of the same size would. Now, at bigger sizes, obviously, crocs get way stronger. But at this size, monitors have power, even though they're small. Whereas crocs, they're pretty defenseless until they get to a medium size. This would be about the start of the size that you wouldn't want to get bitten by a croc, but it would probably still do a little bit less damage than this guy would. Hey, buddy. Aren't you pretty? Watching me? Yeah, he's just watching me. Didn't you get this tail? Trying to distract me again. See here where he's shedding? And its colors are much, much more vibrant underneath. So he's about as dull as he gets. Underneath that you'll see that lighter color, more speckled skin. And the yellow spots up here. I'm trying to get one of the yellow spots to show up underneath the shed. That's what they call yellow spotted monitors. Or Argus monitors, another name for them. You can't see it very well, but it's a little more yellow there. Not a good example though. I'm just trying to help you shed, buddy. You're okay. You can see, even though they do have a powerful bite, most of what they want to do is get away. They'll only bite if they really have to. Like if I held him down like here or something, he'd probably come back and get me or something. But right now, he feels like his best avenue is just to keep clawing his way out of here. It really upsets him when you get above them, because birds are big predators, especially the littler, so they learn to not like having stuff above them. Wow, let's get this guy back outside where he belongs. What a beauty. This is just a repeat of the same picture I put up on screen earlier. This is another yellow spotted monitor that I had found out in Ingham a while back and got a better picture of, so you can really see what makes them special and get a good look at one. Feel free to pause the video or go check out my Instagram if you'd like to see it better. And here you can see I've pointed the cruiser on an off-road trajectory towards a couple of emus we managed to spot. And you can see the air freshener going nuts and these guys legging it. We didn't get to see them for all too long, but it was pretty neat all the same. I probably should have chased after them further. They're not the most intelligent of birds, so many times they'll just keep running opposite of you rather than weaving or going to the side. So if you stay in pursuit, you can try to keep them in front for good footage. But we had stopped to see what that would do. I'll have to stay on their tail better next time. So, with that, we're hitting the conclusion of this leg of the trip. I hope you enjoyed, and we're about to be rolling up onto Townsville, onto what is to be the beginning of the Wallaby episode. Which, yeah, I acknowledge a fair amount of trouble, and I should have paid more attention to what I was doing with the audio. I hope this one is at least a decent improvement over the delivery of that episode. After this should be coming a prequel to what happened in the days just prior to what you saw in this episode, which covered about a day and a half of activity. Well, I'll see y'all next time, and as always, thanks for watching.